Hello, everyone. Happy to be live. Glad to see many of you having joined in already. Let's wait a couple more minutes for others to drop in, and then we'll get this going. Couple more seconds. Looks good for now. Okay. I think we're good to go. What do you say, Jean-Louis? Let's do it.
Let's go.
Welcome, everyone. Once again, we're so excited to get this going. So happy to see so many of you here. We can't wait to get started. My name is Fabian, and I'm a product marketer here at Gladia. I'll be guiding you through today's webinar. This session is being recorded for the record. And feel free to ask questions throughout in the questions tab, and we'll do our best to answer them all towards the end. With me, of course, I have our dear co-founder and CEO, Jean-Louis Queguiner.
Hi, everyone. Nice to have you all in this session. So let's kick it off. Yep. Are we good? Fabian?
Yes, sir. Take it away.
I'm going to take it over. Perfect. So I'm going to share very quickly a few elements about do you have it full screen? Perfect. About the Gladia journey very quickly. So thanks, Fabian, for introducing this webinar. I'm going to just jump over the presentation. So very quickly, just a few minutes, two quick words around the road to real-time AI and why we came to this product, which is the big announcement that we did. So back in the days, like 2 years ago, when we started Gladia with Jonathan, my CTO, we entered the market with a question in mind, and that's the question we're gonna keep talking today. Is the question of the speed versus quality trade-off. It's real. It's something that the market needs. It was the case for asynchronous transcription, meaning batch transcription. People, of course, they needed to have the transcription right away after the meeting, right away after the conversation they have. They just had. The speed was important. The quality is non-negotiable. The speed was important, but not as important as for real time. So back in the days, we managed to solve this speed versus trade-off. Remember, it was like 45 minutes on the market to get 1 hour of audio, between 20 and 45 minutes. So we managed to get that around 1 minute, to get 1 hour of audio. Once we solved this problem, we said, what is the most urgent need on the market? And we saw that AI, like ChatGPT area and all these LLMs area, led to a new need on the market, which was real-time insights and real-time conversation, which needed a new product for that, which was, of course, the real-time speech recognition. Again, we have the same problem to solve: speed versus quality trade-off. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, but our mission, and keep that in mind, and we're going to keep improving over the next few months, is to have batch quality with real-time capabilities. And that's mainly the mission that we are on for the next few months. We are nearly there in terms of quality. The speed was a huge work that we did on our side. But what we've seen is that the market was having a big problem, which was they were running twice the audio, one for the real time, one having the follow-up of the conversation, to have the follow-up of the conversation, and one to have the good quality afterward, and I get the summary and etc. So the real time is like, we should be able to deliver real-time insight in any conversation. When it comes to bot, thinking about, all these phone bot that you have, or it could be a sales assistant, or it could be like having just the insight right after the meeting is being closed. We need insights either real time, or we just need them just a few seconds after the event occurred. We need instant results with perfect accuracy. And one of the key elements that we found on the market was that you can't negotiate on quality. People will laugh at you if you're mistaking their names, if you mistake their company, if you are mistaking any of those crucial elements. And the reason being, like, we are more and more in a situation when you have an end-to-end automation. So garbage in, garbage out becomes a huge challenge. Finally, we wanted to design this product with you guys. So that's why we will show you that, but you will have both the real-time and the asynchronous mechanism being embedded into the same product. You will have also add-ons that will be merged along with your transcription. So you can have real-time name entity recognition, real-time sentiment analysis. I want to keep pushing on those real-time events. So you don't have to run multiple flows of AI and LLMs and stuff like that in parallel. We want to build a product for you, and we build it with you. About the latency and accuracy, we are glad to announce today that we have a real-time and multilingual transcription that is running in less than 300 milliseconds. When I say multilingual, you know us, it's insensitive to accent, especially me with my very heavy French accent. But not only that, we do also keep the mindset of having code switching the language on the fly. That's something that is really important to us, because we know this is a huge challenge when it comes to deploying in the industry. We provide high level of accuracy in real time. It's very easy to go fast in real-time speech recognition. It's very hard to have good quality. So again, the mission is like accuracy of the batch being processed in real time, whatever the language. So we're going to keep pushing on these things. Adding to that, as I explained, we have still the code switching, name entity recognition, real-time sentiment analysis. We also add post recording capabilities such as summarization. And we have something that is very important, is the custom vocabulary, which is extremely hard to get in a real-time environment because of latency issues. So we guarantee custom vocabulary as well as extremely low latency promise, which is unseen on the market. So that's pretty much on the overall coverage. I will stop sharing about this. So to try to quickly summarize the story, what made us being one of the preferred choice for STT was speed versus accuracy trade-offs that we managed to get in the batch, and it's exactly the mindset that we brought and in this real-time new product. I will hand it over to you, Fabien.
Thank you so much, Jean-Louis. What a great run through. But let's get down to it, shall we? I mean, this webinar is obviously, as we all know, all about our new real-time API. As Jean-Louis has been mentioning, an easily integrated and multilingual voice API combining speech recognition and generative AI to provide real-time transcription, insights, and assistance for all of you. For everyone from contact centers to virtual meeting platforms to AI voice companies and content editing suites. Let me share my screen and show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Log in real quick. So when you've signed up to Gladia, before you generate your API key and start making calls here in Home, you can try our products using the web app, Playground, as we like to call it. This is perfectly suitable for technically incompetent folks like myself. So before Jean-Louis dives deep into detailed waters, let me walk you through the basics of it. Perhaps you've understood this by now, but we take languages very seriously here at Gladia. We're an international team, and so we like to think our product should reflect that. Our API provides transcription in over 100 languages, translation, and much more. So enough talking, huh? Let's put Gladia to the test. Before we start recording, let's go through some of the configurations. You can choose between pasting a video link for transcription, uploading a file, or hit real time and start recording live, which we'll do in this case. So I'll be speaking in a couple of different languages, so I'll ask Gladia to automatically detect multiple languages. To enhance the precision of words you know will recur often in your transcription, use custom vocabulary, like Jean-Louis spoke about. I'll add some words that I know I'll be talking about here. And with foreign languages and noisy environments and things like that, it can be difficult to always catch the tone and the sentiments of those speaking. So I'll ask Gladia to help me with that, and I'll activate sentiment analysis. And to make sure we get dates, names, places, and other important information correct, I'll activate named entity recognition, which extracts such data. And when I'm finished speaking, I'd like a summary in bullet points. Okay, let's begin. My name is Fabian. I am 31 years old and I love football. My favorite team is Manchester United. Apologies to any Arsenal fans out there. I was born in London, but I grew up mostly in Stockholm, Sweden, so I speak Swedish. I'll now switch to Swedish to see if Gladia can keep up. Förutom funktioner som extrahering och sammanfattning är det här en av funktionerna som får Gladia att stå ut i mängden, nämligen code switching. Code switching gör att Gladia kan byta språk i realtid utan att kvaliteten på transkriberingen påverkas. And I'll finish by switching to French real quick. Enfin, Gladia est une société française, donc je terminerai avec quelques mots français. Okay, I'll stop the recording there. And as you can see, you have the entire transcription easily available in pure text here. I don't know if there are any Swedish speakers out there in the audience. If there are, you can drop a comment to verify the accuracy of the Swedish in the transcription. You also have it available in JSON, obviously, which is the format you'll get with an API call. In the logs, you can see how Gladia has activated the add-ons that I've asked for, like sentiment analysis and named entity recognition. And under analytics, you can see things like the summary in bullet points. Not only do we have the most solid language supports, we also deal with accents. Jean-Louis, over to you.
I don't know why you offer to me. You mean my French accent is pretty dirty?
No, it's not. It's barely noticeable.
Okay, pretty noticeable. Thank you so much. So I'm going to be taking some call centers. I'm pretending to be a call center. So I'm going to go on the app and customer support, sorry. So I'm going to go on the app and log in and share my screen in a second. Here we go. So I'm not as good as Fabian, that is able to speak multiple languages in a perfect way. The only thing I'm going to do, I'm going to keep English there. Could have been anything, but I would keep English just for the sake of the demonstration. Again, I'm going to ask for a concise summary. I'm going to start the recording. So I'm going to pretend I have a conversation with a call centers, in a call centers. Hi, this is Jean speaking. Why? I'm having on the phone today. This is the company for the phone support, and I'm trying to help you today with your bill. So I'm making things up, as you see. I'm going to try with a more heavy accent. So I'm French. I'm going to try to speak like this and see if it works. So as you can see, even with a very, very Frenchy accent, I'm being like extremely dirty and it works. I'm going to start to speak like a French person, and it's going to be even more difficult for the system to understand. So as you can see, like it's pretty insensitive to accents. So what you would usually see in those situations is that it sounds like a few people commenting that it sounds like you. Maybe that's the reality. If you think about the US, for instance, many people have handling both Spanish accent, Chinese accent, English accent. And one of the questions, and sorry, I'm getting back to the story of Gladia from the beginning, very quickly on an anecdote. We were in meetings and we tried to select the best languages. And there was English US, there was English UK, English Australia. And I'm like, where is the English French accent? And I was in the room with my co-founder who is Spanish. So we were looking for English French and English Spanish accent, and they were nowhere to be seen. So the point is, like, we designed this system to be extremely insensitive to accents. And yes, Swiss accent can be definitely supported. So I'll keep going, but I see that the system is being able to also summarize and picks up the English, picks up the name correctly, as we have seen before, even if the conversation was pretty small and acting like a call center with an extremely heavy accent. So that's it on my side. I'm going to hand over to you, Fabian.
Thanks. That's it for the demoing. I'd love for us to get a proper Q&A started. We have one instant question coming in the chat live, which is, and I'll ask this to you, Jean-Louis, what kind of GPU system are you using to reach this kind of speeds?
Well, we don't share which GPUs, but we use GPUs behind the scene, you're 100%. And we did an extensive benchmark over the last year to find what was the best the speed performance speed on the one hand, and the cost also, to make the system still being affordable. It's easy to go extremely fast with very high-end GPUs, but the main question is, like, how do you keep that affordable? So yes, definitely.
Thank you. We're getting some great questions coming in here. For semantic analysis, I assume you mean sentiment. Are you processing text, audio signals, or both?
For now, we process text, and we are planning to have audio in the coming months.
Excellent. Let's see, what did we have prior to the session starting here?
We have also a question around the quality. The sound of the quality of the sound is pretty. The system is like, how does the system handles low quality sound? We do have a system that is based on a Whisper architecture. So it's not the vanilla Whisper, it's our own Whisper, but that's based on the same type of architecture. And I'm going to be very high level, but still a bit technical there. Whisper has a crazy thing about its architecture. It's like pretty based on the same concept as LLMs. So it's able to understand what's happening behind the scene in terms of concept, the concept being handled and being spoken during the transcription. So if you have some, as you said, muffled words or broken sounds, etc., it tends to be able to fill the gap like your brain would do it. Because if you say a sentence and you miss a word, or try to your brain will try to feed the gap. So it does work. Do you that's basically how the system works behind the scene. Yes.
Thank you for all the questions, guys. Really appreciate it. I have one that sits very close to my heart, working in a noisy shared office environment. And the question is about how we handle background noise and sound interference in the audio. What can we say there, Jean-Louis?
So we have filters that help handling those kind of environment. Usually it's filtering very well, but we are, again, as I said, the year is going to keep like improving this product, but we're going to have new systems in place in the coming months. That's going to be even stronger in terms of denoising. And we don't want you to take care about those denoising. We want to take care of it because you have other stuff to run, like your business. So that's going to be definitely coming. There are other good questions there.
Yes, plenty of them. I had coming back to the story that you told about founding the company. I love a question that goes like this: what's the biggest challenge you've experienced when building Gladia? Would you say, as a founder, from a story point of view?
From a story point of view, the biggest challenge. I'd say the biggest challenge is to find the smartest people around you. And I think it all comes to the talents and the culture you want to have in the company. I know it's not about technical stuff, but that's definitely what I think. I think with a smarting, you can achieve pretty much everything. And that's it. So
Cool.
probably this. Now we have actually now what we are seeing in the market, being a bit more technical, we are seeing that there is a big starvation of GPU resources in general. So we do secure our GPUs with our providers, and we do sourcing on multiple providers now. But that's definitely one of the challenges also that we are seeing in AI right now.
One feature I'm very keen on is obviously diarization. Not too long ago, we announced a partnership with Pinode on that front as well, and we got a question on diarization here that I find very interesting. It reads, do you plan to enable storing user voices for diarization and assignment of the names instead of speaker numbers? And I'm frankly not really sure how this works. Do you know how that works, John?
So the goal, if I understand well, is to be able to attribute names directly from the diarization. So for now, we don't support diarization on the real time. We do support diarization on the async, but that the name guessing is definitely something we are working on. Yes. We call it name guessing or name discovery. We have plenty of things coming. We'll keep you up to date, but like the roadmap is pretty exciting. Definitely. I had one question that I loved. Which was written, it was you recognize name spelling, and I just want to do a demo on that. Okay, let's go. That's probably, I'm going to choose French because I don't know, French, why not?
Shocker.
Mon nom, c'est Jean-Louis Queguiner, Jean-Louis Queguiner. So as you see, like the spelling worked perfectly when I was talking. So it has a good spelling, like you would do in a good. So I started to kind of do it in a very dirty way, but that's definitely doable in every languages, and the spelling is really great. Okay. What about phone numbers? Same goes with phone numbers. You want another demo? Okay, let's go with phone numbers. It's unseen territory now. I mean, yeah, it's seen territories, but I'm gonna do French because my English is not good enough, I think, to spell my number like in a very. Or should I give my real number? I don't think so. I almost did the mistake. Good trick. Mon numéro de téléphone, c'est le 02 99 65 43 21. As you can see, it's pretty, I mean, it's totally accurate. Okay, so I would stop.
Not to drag you away from the demoing, Jean-Louis, we all love that, but we got some great and important questions here from Heinz on privacy. So what's the current status for Gladia regarding privacy policy and compliance?
So we don't train on paying customer data. So as long as you put your credit card and as long as you're paying customers and pro customers, we don't. We do have the data being hosted and processed in Europe with a European cloud provider, which make it GDPR compliant by default. What else can I tell you? Data is being monitored and audited. So every time we need to access data for debugging purposes, everything is logged in systems. We are actually working with audit companies to make that a bit more like understandable through certifications, which I can't talk right now, but that's going to be definitely announced in the coming months. But we do monitor and audit every access to the data also. So GDPR compliant is definitely one of the key elements, being a European company and hosting in Europe with a European cloud provider, preventing Cloud Act, Shrem 2 type of I would say access or legal constraints. Servers are hosted in France, as I said. I'm seeing the questions. It's a big challenge to make the service Thank you, Olivier, for the feedbacks. So you were talking about Gladia unique selling proposition. I would say the quality and the speed is definitely the trade-off we were able to achieve, as well as the quality of the what we call the key elements. Very important. So in terms of inputs, yeah, WebRTC, Steve, I see your questions. We do support for now WebSockets, and we are planning to release in a few weeks VoIP support, meaning direct SIP integration. So we do provide you a way to start a SIP agent, and you're able to integrate your SIP agent in your flows. So you don't have to handle WebSocket connect, reconnect, and things like that. So it's natively supported. Also in the new protocol that we have, Steve, for your information, in the WebSocket, we have new ways to handle it. So we have ways to fall back your WebSocket. We give you a way to fall back your WebSockets because we know that internet is internet and it's not reliable. So you need to have ways to be able to buffer and to handle failing WebSockets because internet is internet, as I said. And among other things, we did improve the security mechanism. So the security was not an issue. It's just that we have seen many people wanted to build more and more client-facing apps. And the client-facing apps is just a topic that emerged through the year thanks to OpenAI and ChatGPT type of approach. And so the things that we did was that you create a request to open a socket with your token, your security token, and we give you a socket with a temporary token that is a one-time token. Means that you don't expose any technical tokens that is used internally to interact with Gladia. It's just a token that is a one-time token that is used on the client side. So it means that it's very friendly for apps. It's very friendly for client-side WebSockets. So it's a new feature that has been requested by the community a lot. We do not make data anonymization yet, but that's definitely something that we can work on, Nicolas. So happy to chat directly with the teams. We can set it up for you, definitely. So any other questions? It does handle technical terms and special terms very well. As I said, Mohamed, that's a very good question. Think about it as an LLM that has the voice capability. So everything that he has seen before in the past, it's able to handle it. So if you think about technical terms in IT, for instance, which is the domain I'm the most familiar, is going to be able to pick up Kubernetes or Docker or those kind of words. That being said, it's always good to have custom vocabulary because it's going to definitely help the algorithm being guided.
We had a question that specifically also Jean-Louis on custom vocabulary. I can't really track it down now, but I pasted it here. And it was a question on fine-tuning specific vocabularies for certain verticals like sales or support. What's our plan there?
That's not something that we offer out of the box. Again, it depends on the volume. It depends on the customer and the engagement we can have with the customer, but that's the kind of things that is definitely doable. In general, the system is fairly very accurate in general. And custom vocabulary is the kind of drilling the problem most of the time. But if it's a need that the customer have with a decent volume, that's definitely the kind of things that we can consider. And again, talk to the sales, definitely something doable. Okay. So there is a question around filtering, VID, and things like that. So it's more how we do it. Again, a good question, very good question. So we do have a certain number of mechanisms. It goes back to the question from Benjamin around the hallucinations. We do have a certain number of measures that we handle that we have on our side to handle hallucinations. We're going to keep adding more and more guardrails in the coming months. Keep in mind that it's easier to have quality in batch in general than in real time because you want to keep the latency. So it's always the trade-off between quality and speed. So every time we have a countermeasure or a guardrail, we need to take into consideration the latency, because it can definitely impact the customer satisfaction on the other end. So we do work a lot on hallucinations, definitely.
There's a popular question around multilinguality there, Jean-Louis, on the difference from Xavier, on the difference for real time for English versus languages like French or Dutch. I mean, as we could see in the demo, it's not much of a difference at all, but do you care to expand, or?
About like what the quality between the languages?
Yeah, it says the difference. I assume quality is one aspect, yeah, but also latency from...
Latency, we don't make any difference. On our hand, we have one model that is running all languages. We might make this evolve in the long run. Maybe we will be able to accelerate the most frequent used languages or upon customer request. But we are now running one model to hold them all. But in the coming months, again, we want to reduce the latency. So we're going to keep drilling into compressing models and maybe have more monolingual, but still have the code switching being run on the other side. That's the trade-off that we need to find. Which LLM are we using? We have our own fine-tuned versions of today Mistral. Mistral is a version of Mistral, and we have a combination with other techniques to have structured data. Okay, so you want to have another question was about data leaks. So we do have an option, if you want, which is zero data retention. About this, like it was a question coming in the chat from Raz, and the question was like, how do you prevent from data leaks? So we have an option called zero data retention, which means that we don't store data. It's there for a few hours for you to pick up the transcription, and then it's everything is removed from the servers. So that's definitely an option that you could have. If your customer is confronting you with an open AI wrapper or Gladia wrapper, which I don't really understand, we do take care about the privacy at Earth, which might not be the case for everyone. But I won't comment on the rest of the providers, but we do care about that, and we don't use the data without your consent, which means that if you want to have an improvement, as I said, on the fine-tuned model at some point, then we will execute potentially in the coming months, but that's not something that we do out of the box using your data. PII is a good idea. Juan taking the feedbacks for the product team. Juan is proposing to have some rules to remove the PII from the transcription right away. That's a good idea. Considering the fact that we have name entity recognition, as you've seen, like we just have to set a rule saying, hey, if you detect a name, first name, last name, phone number, email, or whatever, just remove it. So that's definitely something doable. There is no blocker there. Okay, then there was a question interesting about the rate limit, which is maybe the question, Espen, if you can just have a bit more comments, which is about the rate limits. Do you mean about on the batch API or on the real-time API? Espen is replying. Espen is asking a question about the rate limits. So we do have rate limits on batch, and we do have rate limits on real-time. Real-time, the limit is based on the number of parallel WebSockets you're able to handle. If you want to increase, that's not an issue. Contact the sales. We can handle that for you. Why we do that? And same for batch. Why do we do that? We want to protect the production of all our customers. So if you have a massive needs or bigger need than the limits, if you contact the sales, we're going to add you into an isolated environment to make sure that you're not impacted by the rest of the production or by the rest of the customers. If we have a free, I would say, unlimited number of parallel requests, you will be impacted by anyone that will just have a surge in their production, and that's not something that we want to have. So we just want to have predictability in the workload. So Espen, I hope you answered the question.
If you don't mind, Jean-Louis, if we can zoom out for a second, there's been a couple of questions regarding use cases and ideal customer profiles and whatnot. Do you care to expand a bit on which the current ones are and why?
What the current, sorry?
Use cases and customer profiles.
Sure. The current use cases are telephony, definitely one of the biggest adoption. We have two type of customers on real-time that use it for the telephony. We have people building bots, end-to-end bots that are able to pick up a call or to make a call and to handle the end-to-end workflows. And one of the reasons why Gladia is preferred is mainly for the quality of the recognitions, especially on the I would say the key items like names and phone numbers, etc., because the system needs to be automatic and look up into the CRMs. And that's one of the reasons. We have customers that are based in finance. We have the highest mark on the market when it comes to recognizing the financial numbers. Again, if you want to have an automated systems that does actually make a big difference. And the second type of customer that we have in the call centers are people that are looking for either quality monitoring of their agents, so quality insurance, or on the other side, people looking for assistance of agents to improve their productivity. What we have seen in the benchmarks is that an agent is gaining around 30% in terms of efficiency when they have an AI agent assisting them in real time, thanks to the speech and the direct lookup of answers in the knowledge systems. And when it comes to crafting and automatically crafting the answers at the end of the call, we have seen an improvement, a reduction of 30% of handle time. So that's pretty huge. And on the other side, we have real-time sales tools also that are extremely, they are growing extremely fast with a big spread of the sales assistant tools, which is pretty impressive, to be honest. We have a bunch of them that we use internally. And it's extremely impressive what the progress has been in the last few months. We have seen in the market, again, a 30% improvement in the administrative workload for the follow-up calls, but on the sales front, a 50% improvement on the closing rate. So it means like having a real-time guidance, battle cards in real time, talk track, etc., is improving by 50% the conversion over time. So that's again great tools and great AI capabilities that needs to be definitely considered for companies. That's it, Fabian. Another question?
Yeah, I was going to say that's impressive, being able to be provided second best alternatives for answers and things like that. I think we've run through most of the questions asked. Let's see if we had any Oh yeah, we had one on compatibility from before, sent in previously. What tech stacks is our API compatible with?
Any tech stack that will leverage a WebSocket. So it's pretty standard web HTTP type of protocol, so not an issue. We don't have any restriction. We do plan to have further integration, as I presented before, SIP in the coming weeks, and others probably. But that's again about the roadmap. We like the community to also drive it. So feel free to join the Discord or to talk to the sales, and we're gonna adapt the roadmap to your needs. So that's one of the unique value proposition that we have right now also, is that we like the customers and we like to be close to them. So we don't build the thing because it's funny, we build the things because of you. And I'm going to share very quickly, Fabian, if you don't mind, a quick story as a founder.
Please do.
We saw the company dying when we started. Okay, we were having an API store with like 500 APIs. So we spread the energy around 500 APIs. And we decided to focus on speech because of the reason I mentioned earlier. But at the beginning, we were not having traction with these 500 APIs. So we saw the company dying, and we decided to listen to the customers. What is the most urgent need that we're having? And it was speech to text. And it saved the company, and now it became successful. The thing that saved the company was listening to the customer and building the things that they want, not deciding what we want. Especially in AI, it's easy to get into the fancy space of building new, crazy, blinking stuff, and it looks good, etc., etc. But the question is like, what do you solve? And I can tell you how our customers and the early adopters, they save the company. So that's something that we have in mind. The dev, the tech, the marketing, the sales, everyone, we know we own we are there thanks to the customer. So please share anything that you have that you want to see in the roadmap. We know that's the right way to run the company. So we're going to keep having that. Thanks, Raz. You decide and you help us build the company and the roadmap. So definitely keep that. If you want to have more integration, tell us which one to prioritize and share that. And we're gonna make sure it's happening.
I think, Jean-Louis, thank you for that. I think I missed a question from before from George here on detecting speakers' genders. Detecting the genders? Yes.
It's a very, very good question. It's getting technical a little bit. I like it.
That's why we're here.
Genders is definitely doable. One thing that you have to keep in mind is that the data availability, and it's the whole challenge of speech. Speech is all about data availability. It's not like LLMs. LLMs, you have plenty of data on the web, common crawl, etc. On speech, you have very limited data set, and I do understand because I don't want my voice to be actually used in training data without my consent. So you have a certain number of restrictions when you do speech. The first one is the language coverage. Okay, speech is widely spreaded across the globe, which is not the case for most of the languages. Same goes with the same problem goes with gender detection. A voice in and a male in the US won't have the same footprint as a male in Asia or as a male in Africa or a male in Europe. So again, you're going to have biases in terms for the gender. You're going to have a bias in terms of geographical representation. So that's something that we are actually looking into, but the bias is definitely a problem that is not solved yet. So there are many ways that we can solve that. Let's say we do have recordings of your meetings, and we could potentially use them to grab the picture, the face that you have in the meeting, detect the gender, and then from the gender, get the footprint of the voice and create a labeling data set. But as I said, this is not what we have in our culture of the company and not in the guidelines that we have with our customers. We don't use the data to train. So we need to find ways to handle that in a different way. Maybe it's going to take more time, but that's the engagement that we have with our customer. We don't train on data. So we need to be extremely careful on the bias that we bring to the market, as well as the training data source. Anyways, regulation is coming, so we won't have choice anyways.
Thank you, Jean-Louis. We had one there in the chat that I think you implicitly answered in your story there about storing recorded files from conversations.
What's the question exactly?
If we do it.
We do it, but you can disable it. We do it mainly for debugging purposes, to make sure that when you come and you say, hey, I have an issue with this recording, you are able to provide us with a unique identifier. And then we are able to, as I said, investigate. Every time we investigate, the person that accessed the record is being traced into an audit trail. So we know who accessed what and at which date. And we do the debug. We do have countermeasures and stuff like that. So that's how we store it. There are ways that you can enable 0 data retention or 15 days retention or 20 days retention, you choose, up to your policy. Again, contact the sales. They will lead you through the process. Definitely doable.
Thank you. I think we can end on a somewhat forward-looking question here from Heinz. I'll read it aloud for everyone to hear. If Gladia supports a reseller structure to manage voice bots and chat bots for customers, and if there's a white-labeled customer portal.
That's a good question. Heinz, let's take that offline, so I'd better understand. And maybe for now, I would say there is no product or partnership structure that has been designed in this way. But if it's something that you look at and we are able to see from the community as a traction, definitely happy to talk about this reseller structure. We are seeing it's funny because we are seeing a lot of structure like this in the market. Okay, I will look into it. Honestly, I'm not prepared for this question that is more fully business and I need to wire up. But I will look into it. Okay.
We'll make sure to follow up. Yes.
Yeah, make sure to follow up with you. But basically, what I meant, like in the speech to text space, we are seeing a lot of companies that are actually resellers of speech to text, and we are not that many doing speech to text. So that's definitely something that we can work on the ends.
Let's see. Thank you. From Benjamin, if we plan to add phone conversation fine-tune models.
So the model by design is able to handle the phones very in a very good way. So for the people that are not familiar, maybe you will learn something, is that most of you are running on 16 kilohertz type of signals, which is pretty much most of the standard, I would say, in the industry. But phone are going through landlines, and landlines degrade the signal up to 8 kilohertz. So usually it's very bad quality. Gladia is able to support that. That's a problem that we've seen, I think, in the last 2 years. We've been working on that. I see some amazing customers that have joined the chat, like Alexandre Beaujeu from Selectra. They were the first one to raise those type of problems to us, like the 8 kilohertz and Mulo and all these things. So we do worked a lot on that, and thanks to, again, our customer. Thank you, Alexandre, so much for your support in the last 2 years. It's been amazing to have you by our side. So definitely, like the telephony is definitely something that we faced in the past and we were able to solve.
Let's see, what's that? The quality. Merci, Alexandre.
Merci, Alexandre.
Last question from Lawrence on mentioning Africa. Is it a continent we're looking to expand into? Many of our languages are African in terms of supporting them in transcription, but do you have any more?
Yeah.
There, Jean-Louis?
Again, it's a speech problem. It's how much data do you have? And unfortunately, in Africa, there are not that many, not much data available on the one hand. And on the other hand, the number of dialects being spoken in Africa is just insane. So you have two problems. When you address a market, you need to have a critical mass, and you need to have a critical mass of data and critical mass of customers to make sure that your company is running at a profitable level. So yes, Africa is definitely an amazing market, growing extremely fast, extremely interesting. But for now, unfortunately, the data is not enough to be able to train a model on. Or very few models are able to be delivered with main African languages. But as I said, like, it's very hard to get good data. I see that Raz saw my LinkedIn profile. My dream is to visit the store at some point. So.
That's a great note to end on, guys. I think we'll wrap up there. Thank you so much to everyone for taking part in today's webinar about our new real-time transcription API. If you want to know more, obviously, just go to our website and feel free to book a demo with our dear sales team. And I think all that's left for us to do is to wish you a great evening or rest of your day, depending on where in the world you are. Hope to see you soon, and remember to tune in for the next one. Okay, thanks, guys.
Just a quick thanks everyone. Don't hesitate to ping me on Discord directly. I'd be happy also to catch up with the question you had. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you.